Let's talk a little bit about finding examples for the turnarounds. So far, we've been focusing last few days on how to actually find the turnarounds, like the turnaround to the self, turnaround to the other, turnaround to the opposite. And it's important, first of all, to know how to find the actual turnaround. Sometimes I call this the technical turnaround, because then you know what you're looking for. But the real work, like the real meditation, takes place when you start looking for the examples of the turnarounds. And what allows me to do this in a relaxed way is to always remember that the turnaround is just a new possibility. It doesn't mean just because I have a turnaround to the self or turnaround to the other or turnaround to the opposite, doesn't mean for sure that that turnaround is true. I'm just looking. I'm just looking to see if I can find some examples, some evidence to support the idea that maybe the turnaround is true. And when I keep that attitude of, okay, this is just kind of an exploration to see what I can find, then my mind is very open, and I often am able to come up with things that would maybe seem impossible to come up with otherwise. So finding examples of the turnaround is really an experience of opening your mind to the unknown, really. It's like doing science in a way. It's experimenting. Now we have a new hypothesis. Could the opposite be true? And then I'm going to look. I'm going to look. Where could I look? What are the possible ways that this turnaround could be true? And so that's for me the fun of finding turnaround examples. It's not like I'm trying to, like I have to come up with a turnaround example. It's just, let me see if I can find something that I wasn't expecting. And and the key to me for me is to really start thinking outside of the box. So if somebody like maybe I'm questioning the thought that he rejected me, and it seems really clear that he rejected me. How am I going to find some examples for, say, the turnaround to the opposite? He didn't reject me. Well, you may have to just really consider, what does it mean for him to reject you? What does that actually mean? What does reject mean? So sometimes just looking at the definition of the word can be a good starting place. And then I think reject means just doesn't want anything to do with me. It's like putting me out. He's doesn't care about me. Like he's really kind of like pushing me away. So is it possible that he's not rejecting me? Even when he says, get out of here or something, you know? It could be like so obvious. Of course, he seems like he's rejecting me, but am I sure? Is there any wiggle room? That's the way I like to look for examples. Okay, is it possible he's not rejecting me even when he says, get out of here? And I may have to really think about it. But if I do, I may find that he didn't mean it as severely as what I was taking it as. Maybe he was rejecting me in that moment, like saying, get out of here, but it didn't mean like, get out of here for the rest of your life. I don't ever want to see you again. Maybe it was just, get out of here in a small moment. Like, I can't handle it. I need to be alone. Just get out of here. Or there could be other possibilities depending on the situation that you're in. So the idea I want to give you here is that even when it seems absolutely obvious that they have done something, take a look and think outside the box, get into their head a little bit and imagine what could be going on for them. And often you may find some examples that make sense. But here's the bottom line. Turnaround examples, you may come up with lots of turnaround examples. Maybe you just kind of start brainstorming, and I love doing it that way. But the bottom line is, only the ones that feel genuine to you are really the ones that end up sticking. So you don't have to worry about this. It will be taken care of automatically. Anytime you find a turnaround example that really makes sense, really resonates, you'll feel it. You'll feel it. Like the things start to shift when you do that. But other times you may find turnaround examples that are kind of like, it's kind of an example, but I don't fully believe it. It's sort of a not as solid of an example. Then in that case, for me, it's not such a genuine example for me. It doesn't work so strongly for me. And that's okay too. I'll just notice that and keep moving. Notice and keep moving. So what we're looking for is any kind of genuine example, one that makes sense to me. And if I can find that, great. If I can't find that, that's okay too. I don't have to find a genuine example for every turnaround. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. My only job in doing the work is just to look for these examples, just to look. And just in looking with an open mind, I often end up finding things that I would never expect to find. So that's all we're doing here. If I put any undue pressure on myself to find an example, a really good one, or to really break through in some way, then it just adds pressure. And that is counterproductive. It shuts down my creativity. I stop looking around for examples. In fact, I stop being interested in doing the work. So the work is interesting when I leave it like up to whatever it is that helps me find these examples. It's like going on an Easter egg hunt. I just go and look and look and look and look, and sometimes I find one, sometimes I don't, and that's part of the fun of playing this. So that's the main idea when you're looking for examples. You may have to really sometimes almost stretch things a little bit to just get the essence of what does it mean when I said that they are I want him to stop smoking. This is one of my favorites. I want him to stop smoking, and I don't smoke, so I turn it around. I want me to stop smoking. Well, I don't smoke, so what does that have to do with this? I can't find an example. But if you stretch it a little bit, if you just expand a little bit on what it means to smoke, maybe it means to be addicted in any way. And if I look closely, I can find some addictions. They're not like hardcore addictions, but they're addictive tendencies. And so when I find those, then I can start to see, okay, right, I remember wanting to stop doing that, and it's not easy, and I start to gain some understanding for the other person. Or another fun way of taking smoking is like smoking. I want him to stop smoking, turn around, I want me to stop smoking. Smoking could be like being angry. I'm smoking in anger. I'm smoking. I'm even making fumes like out into the environment that are polluting the other people in the environment. So I want me to stop smoking. So these are all examples of how you can play with a turnaround so that it's not necessarily literal. And it may be. Maybe they do exactly what I was thinking. Maybe I'm doing exactly what I was thinking they were doing. But maybe I'm doing something similar. And we've discussed this a little bit already. So that's what I mean by finding genuine examples. Examples that make sense to you and examples that resonate with you. If they don't resonate, just keep looking, keep exploring, and don't worry about that. One other thing just before I go is to consider that sometimes the mind will give an example that makes sense to me, and then it will take it away. Like, okay, he rejected me, turned around, he didn't reject me. Okay, great, he didn't reject me. And I think, oh, but he really did reject me. This is like giving it to myself and then taking it away from myself. And if you catch yourself doing that, just stop for a second and notice what you're doing, because this kind of is counterproductive when you're doing the work. So the idea is to give the example and see if you can find any sense in it. If you can't, that's fine. But don't just quickly take it away, because that will end up robbing you the possibility of finding what may actually be there in that turnaround example.